Recording. Okay, everybody, we are excited because we have Dr. Ron Weiss on the Lillian McDermott's radio show. I'm so excited.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
And here we go. Fasten your seatbelts.
Bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live
Dr. Weiss. Oh, come on. I'm not seeing you dance.
like your
best I couldn't hear over the music.
Oh, boy. There you go. You know how to dance. I wish. Say something so we can record you.
Right here. And when
Do you play? Yeah?
I'll be right here.
Here we go. Here we go.
Right here waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening friend, will feel empowered to learn a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, today, you're going to want to call the show because you've got a free gift coming to you. If we're going to talk about health and nutrition today, and what better way to start a healthy life than to be given a gift card? Okay, so you need to be the fifth caller to leave a message or texter at 407-373-5959. If you live in the First Coast, you will get a $20 gift card from Native Sun in Jacksonville and Jacksonville Beach. And if you live in the Space and Treasure Coast, you will get a $20 gift card from Sunseed Co-op there in Cape Canaveral. And both these groups, both these grocers are making healthy living simple, delicious, and affordable. And what better way to kick off with Dr. Ron Weiss than to be given $20 to start your life back? So start your calls. You can call 5 times, you can call 1 time. It's up to you. Now, do you want to be healthy? This is a good start to call 407-373-5959. How much is your health worth to you? Are you willing to achieve optimal health? And right now you're probably thinking, I will do anything for love. And you can put a health in there, but I won't do that. Today, Dr. Ron Weiss is going to share 10 tips. This is like the commandments of Dr. Ron Weiss of Ethos Health and how we can start to take our health back. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Dr. Ron Weiss of Ethos Health is here to do just that. Welcome back, Dr. Weiss.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, Lily.
And it's been a while. So catch us up real quick. What's been going on with you at Ethos Health?
A lot of things. We just finished up our 2017 farming season. Mm-hmm. It was a great success. Grew a lot of great food. We just had our last farm market last week, and we're now getting the farm ready for sleep because it sleeps during the winter time, and we're battening down the hatches and putting blankets on all of the soil and
That's
just
pretty cool.
For 2018.
That's a pretty cool analogy. I've never heard that before, putting it to sleep and putting blankets on there. So share a little bit about yourself, Dr. Weiss, and what led you to you bought the farm and you're still alive.
Yes. I bought the farm, but I did not die.
You're living.
I'm still alive. Yes, I my background is a botanical one. I've been fascinated with plants since I was a little boy and always wanted to be a farmer, but went off course a little bit, and I became a doctor.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, but never forgot about farming, and so later in life, in my late 40s, I got a farm, and so we're back here on the farm, being a doctor and a farmer at the same time. So, yeah.
A doctor and a farmer. And I remember the last conversation you and I had, you had talked about how you like to write, for your prescriptions, broccoli, and you write it on the script pad. But now I hear the FDA has said you can't do that anymore.
Oh, is that true? Well, I didn't hear that, but in any event, my prescription pad is rarely used these days. I mean, I will prescribe a drug if I have to, but the vast majority of the time I don't.
And what is the philosophy behind your when you're helping your patients heal?
We have many philosophies here. I think the underlying one is that a lifestyle which is centered on food, specifically whole unrefined plant foods, is the most powerful tool to reverse illness.
Very good.
I think it's important to remember that our current, the conventional medical system is one that tends to sustain people in states of illness.
Very good.
You go to a doctor with a chronic illness, and you have to keep going back and, take medications. And so we try to reverse those illnesses with lifestyle.
Very good. And this is what we're talking about today. Dr. Ron Weiss is going to give us the 10 commandments, the tips to taking our health back. Be the fifth caller or texter, 407-373-5959, and get a $20 gift card to start your healthy life. We'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. Okay, Dr. Weiss, here we go. The 10 commandments.
No, but she's still videotaping.
Ah, remember that? Give me that smile again and say something.
10 commandments.
The 10 commandments.
10,
okay.
Count them. 10.
The 10 commandments. And is this something that you thought of to be on the show? Is this something that you had?
No. Okay. So, I am Jewish. So 10 commandments is the bedrock of what I learned in Sunday school.
Yes.
So, yeah. And when you, it was your suggestion, which brought me back to my Sunday school days. So you asked me to come up with 10 ways to take back our health. And then, that number 10, if you know the Bible, is, it's a powerful number.
Yes.
So I then began to think of the 10 commandments and the way they are split up. The 10 commandments are divided in half. The half of them, first half, have to do with an overall relationship between the human being and the Almighty. And then the second 5, or the second half of the commandments, have to do with relationship, interhuman relationship. So that inspired me to come up with these 10 commandments.
Yay!
The first 5.
Well, don't be talking about the first 5 yet.
I don't want to give away.
You don't give away any secrets. Don't give away any secrets. We do want to do this so that people understand a little bit about you. The people that have, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time or learning about Dr. Weiss, Dr. Weiss was on my show after I saw him on the documentary Eating You Alive. I was so impressed with the story. We reached out, and he's been, we've had you guys on the phone, on the show, but this is the first time we get to record you. And I had the opportunity to go to Ethos Health, which is a beautiful farm. Ooh, do I hear the music? There we go. Time to dance again. Here we go.
Count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
I am loving these texts and callers. Keep calling, texting. Fifth caller or texter will get a $20 gift card from Native Sun in the First Coast, and it's in Jacksonville Beach. And you'll get a $20 if you live in the Space and Treasure Coast from Sunseed Co-op so that you can start. So keep trying because you never know when number 5 comes along. So Dr. Ron Weiss was a superstar, megastar in Eating You Alive. And as you know, I am obsessed with this documentary, and I am just so grateful. I got to visit the farm up in New Jersey, and I am thrilled that Dr. Ron Weiss and his team have become friends of the Lillian McDermott radio show. So today, Dr. Weiss, you explained while we were off the air how you came up with these 10 tips. So share really quick, because you did a lot of sharing off the air. So really quick so that we can get all these commandments on the air, or tips, but not suggestions. So let's keep going.
Right. Okay. So, so these 10 items are divided into 2 categories. The first category is their overall foundational concepts, and they make up the first 5, let's say, commandments, as you might say, or essential items to taking back your health. And they deal with basic, overall, general foundational concepts which you should apply in order to be start from a platform of success. Mm-hmm. The second 5 are specific, detailed areas which are necessary in order to reverse and prevent disease.
Very good. So, drum roll, please. So, we're going to start with the first tip to starting. And so, some of these are kind of baby steps that we can start and get ourselves mentally prepared. So, what would you say is the first step in your commandments?
The first step is a general concept, and I think it applies to both populations, and as far as it's an important concept to adopt in the delivery of public health in a healthcare system, and it's very important to adopt this concept individually, from an individual perspective. Okay. And that is to take personal responsibility.
I love that.
So why do I say that?
Yes.
The reason why I put this as number 1 concept, to take back your health, is because when you look at the healthcare system in the United States, or when people talk about healthcare, a lot of it centers around either the government, insurance companies, hospitals, doctors, systems, organizations, taking responsibility for the individual's health. And that cannot give the individual good health. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, we have what we call the American healthcare system. It's really not a healthcare system. It's what I call a medical care system.
Yes.
It doesn't really make people healthy. It's basically designed to care for people's medical sicknesses, and just, with drugs and procedures and operations. And it doesn't reverse their illnesses or make them healthy in general, with very few exceptions. It just keeps them sick and chronically ill. And when you look at our system, the vast amount of resources are spent on sustaining people in chronic disease.
Why do you think that we have allowed this in our life as well? Why do you think that we are okay with getting sicker and sicker and adopting it as a part of getting older?
Well, I think if people realize what I'm saying, I don't think they would be okay with it. But the bottom line is, it's a lot it's a lot easier to abdicate responsibility to take over something than it is for you to hold yourself accountable. It's hard to hold yourself accountable. And when the government comes along and says, okay, I'll give you universal health care. Okay, everything will be taken care of. When a drug company comes along and says, or a doctor comes along and says, okay, you have high blood pressure, here are these pills. You can control just undo the cap on the bottle, take a pill, and it'll fix your blood pressure, instead of doing a lot of hard work, and not eating hamburgers and running every day. It's just a natural fallback and easier to access those and not hold yourself accountable.
Okay, so now you're saying about taking the pill. As you know, my registered service mark is you can take a pill, you can take responsibility. I'm not against pills because, hey, I take Nature-Throid for my thyroid. So I'm not against pills, but I am for doing everything you possibly can do to avoid the pill. So let's talk about when we don't take responsibility and decide that, okay, I'm not going to change my lifestyle. I'm just going to take this pill that a doctor's going to manage and the pharmaceutical industry is just so thrilled about. The side effects. Let's talk about the side effects of that pill for high blood pressure, for example. Let's make people aware that when they are taking this pill, what are they giving up by taking the pill?
Sure. And I'll address that in a second. I just want to reiterate something you just said, which was, again, it's not that I never prescribe drugs.
Yeah.
And it is not that I do not find some drugs essential to saving people's lives, but it's gone way, way too far in that direction, and we have to pull it back. So you talked about
taking the pill and the side effects of that pill.
So the downside to that is that we have over 100,000 people every year who die from taking medications that are prescribed correctly. That is more than double the amount of people who die on our highways and roads every year.
Wow.
It is more than double the amount of all the soldiers who died in Vietnam War.
Yeah.
And that's every year. And that is not from overdoses of these medications. It is from taking the medications exactly as the doctor directed. I think that statement should show you that taking medications is not is.
And has anybody died?
That you expect.
Has anybody died from eating broccoli?
Yes. Yes, there is one gentleman who has died of eating broccoli. I believe he was eating maybe 30 pounds of broccoli a day, and he went into liver failure.
So everything in moderation.
If you eat only a pound or two of broccoli a day, I know.
Yeah, okay, so one person versus 100,000. So that gives us an image of, even if you eat a lot of broccoli, you can
also die from drinking water. You can
too much.
It's called potomania.
Yeah.
You can drink like 30 gallons a day, and if you do that, you will drown internally. But you have to
Yeah, you know
things
that
in a reasonable fashion.
Anybody who does that is not listening to their body. Right. That's just the bottom line. Okay, tip number two.
Okay, tip number two. The second concept is that our health is intimately connected. Human health is intimately connected to the world around us. Mm-hmm. Okay. It does not just reside within our own body. There are essential connections of our health to our environment. There are these connections are critical as we are learning every day in new ways. And you can zoom back and look at the 50,000-foot view of, let's say, global environment, how our health is connected to global warming, greenhouse gases that float around the earth, the health of our oceans, so on and so forth. And then you can zoom down in a microscopic way and look to see, well, how is our health related to tiny microscopic bacteria that live in us and around us and in our soil.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're finding out is that all of these connections are turning out to be critical. And without sustaining these ecosystems in a healthy way, human health will fail.
I see that. That's a great visual, because when we look at the Earth from the shuttle, for example, or the space station, we see from afar everything, right?
The blue marble. The beautiful blue marble.
That's right. And then when we look within ourselves, we are the brain, our brain, the way we act is similar to that. As we look within us and look at all the cells in our body, they compare to all the stars and all the planets and all the environments in the universe.
And specifically the living microorganisms that control our health in a microscopic way, which we really didn't appreciate up until about a decade or so ago. But they're foundational in maintaining human health.
Very good. Okay, so that we could probably do a show on that alone. But let's move to number 3, because I want to get through the first 5 as much as I can.
Okay, number 3 is what I call planning and practicing for success.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we've all found out, probably in trying to change our behavior to do better things for ourselves, whether it's maybe, keeping a clean house or keeping our finances in neat shape, maybe bookkeeping or keeping a good, nice, balanced checkbook, something that looks nice, or, a continuing behavior that is beneficial to us. It is necessary to actually schedule or plan these changed behaviors or things that you want to accomplish. If you don't actually plan or schedule them, the chances are that they probably will not take root. For example, whether it be like a mindful meditation, 10 minutes a day, which we can talk about later, or whether it is a 7-minute functional, training session in your living room, or going on a run every day, or walking 3 miles every day, or making sure you go to that supermarket, to that produce section, and you schedule that. If things are not planned and scheduled, they probably will not occur.
I love that. That is so important. If I want to work out in the morning and I don't take my clothes out the night before, guess where I stay? I stay in bed.
Exactly.
Because I didn't plan it. And then I'd have to wake up my husband. And so we know, set ourselves, I love that intention. Set yourself up for success. Another great tip from Dr. Ron Weiss, and we're going to continue getting these tips when we return. And remember, if you want a $20 gift card and start your journey to good health, if you're in the First Coast, it's Native Sun in Jacksonville and Jacksonville Beach. And if you're in Cape Canaveral, that's a $20 gift card from Sunseed Co-op. And we're going to continue our conversation with Ron Weiss when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. That's 407-373-5959. Great. Okay, so we still have the 4 and 5 before we get into the nitty gritty and we get our hands wet or dirty here with our soil. So I love that. I've been talking about this more and more, but have you ever seen the documentary, or not the documentary, the movie, The Matrix?
Yes.
The red pill and the purple and the blue pill. So I wrote an article about taking the red pill. Do you know who G. Edward Griffin is, Dr. Weiss?
No.
He wrote a documentary called back in the 70s, A World Without Cancer, and he talks about Laetrile to help with the treatment of cancer. And he told me that he was putting together a red pill convention, and he explained what the red pill was and the blue pill. The red pill, you take it and you go down this rabbit hole and you learn a new truth, basically. If you take the blue pill, you continue doing what you're doing. You've taken the red pill. What caused you to take the red pill? While we're on the break, and you can share it with our viewers.
I think, I think it's probably a complex of multiple factors, but if there's one event that I can identify that really changed the way I look at things, it was my father's illness. Yeah. So my father, just to be brief, was about 70 years old or so, 69 years old. He was rapidly diagnosed within about 2 weeks with end-stage metastatic pancreatic cancer soon after I had graduated and was practicing as a young doctor. And up until that point, I practiced conventional medicine. And we found a whole food, plant-based diet for him, put him on it. He did amazingly. It changed his life. Reduced his tumor masses by 50%, which we demonstrated by CAT scan. He received no other treatment. And I learned from that, the human body has essentially, if we can get out of the way and give it the right environment and things that are necessary for it to help itself, it can.
I am so sorry for your loss, but we're all teachers and we're all students, and your father was a great teacher. And sometimes we learn what to do and what not to do. And your father was a great teacher of trying something new. He lived much longer than he was told he would live. How much longer did he live?
Instead of 1 to 3 months, he lived for 18 months, a year and a half.
And those 18 months, I'm sure, were more quality than if he would have been with chemotherapy.
Probably higher quality than he had lived for most of his adult life, where he was obese and had diabetes.
Yeah. And so you saw this what food could do. Mm-hmm. Now, do you ever wonder what it would be like, what this world would be like if we continued down that path? The next commandment is dedication. And isn't it interesting that at any time, if we decide that we're not going to dedicate ourselves to our commitment, that we could go backwards, and that our life can change again?
Definitely. And I think, it takes dedication is, I see it as the elusive ingredient that most patients are missing.
And your father is a champion in that one.
He was.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that when we get on the air. I know your father was very special to you. It's and I think that we never know what people teach us. We never know what people teach us.
When you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where you can hear us worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I'm your host, Lillian McDermott, and it is my goal that we learn something new from everyone we meet. We're all teachers, we're all students. And Dr. Ron Weiss and I were talking off the air, and I've often said, I wish our conversations were recorded, where now they are. And you can catch these recordings at whenyouneedafriend.com. Click on YouTube, and you can see our conversations and hear on and off the air. And for those of you who would like to start your new life and with a $20 gift card from Sunseed Co-op, if you're in the Space and Treasure Coast, or Native Sun and the First Coast, Jacksonville Beach, please call, be the fifth caller or texter, 407-373-5959. I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, become a subscriber. Make sure that when you become a subscriber and you check out my website with past shows and everything that's so wonderful about taking responsibility, which is the first commandment, the first tip Dr. Ron Weiss gave us today, is take 100% responsibility. No more blaming, no more shaming. Just own it. Be aware and own it. So like me or follow me on subscribe to my whenyouneedafriend.com. But while you're there, check out my sponsors. If it weren't for my sponsors, the show would not happen. And I've gotten so many texts from you saying how much you love the show. So check out the sponsors and see how you can support them, how they're supporting us. And I want you to like me on my social media. And once again, you can check out my whenyouneedafriend.com and figure out all the different ways that we can stay connected. 407-373-5959 to win. Be the fifth caller or texter to win a $20 gift card. Doesn't matter if you're in the Space and Treasure Coast or in the First Coast, you will still get a card because these Native Sun and Sunseed are making healthy, simple, and delicious and affordable. They're dedicated to organic. But if you live in the New Jersey area, you can always go to Ethos. So you can go to myethos.com, myethoshealth.com. I'm trying to find your website, Dr. Weiss. I am so, when I went there, I was so amazed with what you have created, and I am excited to have you here. So that people are listening from New Jersey, drive up, or if you're visiting near the area, drive there. The farm went to bed, right, Dr. Weiss?
Right, putting the farm to sleep.
The farm is asleep right now.
This coming month.
But they can come to you and hear how you help so many. You have a team that help people get healthy. So before we went on the break, we talked about responsibility and connecting our health to the world, planning for success. And now we're going to talk about tip number 4. What is that?
Tip number 4 is, I call it dedication.
Dedication. Share a little bit about that.
A patient, I was reminded of this last week when a patient with cancer came to me at the end of the visit. He said, Dr. Weiss, do you really think that I can beat the cancer? And I said, yes. You can beat the cancer. It is not dependent on, the things that I've told you, the treatments that are available, whether they can help you. They can help you. And I told him that the determinant will be how dedicated you are to following the path that we set out. And I realized that for most patients, it is dedication that is the most difficult thing to do. So to adopt the path and to stay on the path is very difficult. Mm-hmm. To avoid pitfalls, not to take exit ramps, and to stay on the path lifelong. It is a long journey. There are models that we look at in the changing behaviors when it comes to health, and that one item, trying to sustain behavioral change, is the most difficult thing for people to do.
You know, I want to look at that word difficult, because I think that if we say it's going to be difficult, and don't get me wrong, I know that it's a journey that dedication is important, but how we dedicate to this journey is crucial. Because if I think that I am giving up potato chips or Coke, I'm giving up cake, then I feel that this journey is going to be difficult.
Right, because you're coming from it from a perspective of deprivation.
That's right.
How am I depriving myself?
That's right. But if we look at it as, when I eat a healthy black bean brownie, Dr. Furman, we talked about Dr. Furman on and off the air. If I eat a black bean brownie from Dr. Furman, I feel like I'm having a wonderful cake. And so that dedication of learning new things, it just can't be I want to do it. It's what am I willing to do to make that I'm embracing health as opposed to
correct
missing out on or lack. Okay. So that, I get you. I hear you loud and clear. Okay. Number 5.
Number 5 is listening to the evidence. So
say more.
Listening to the evidence. This is, I find, most frustrating for large numbers of people. And I see this whenever I give a talk, and then I take a Q&A from the audience, and people will always ask questions like, well, what about coconut oil, Dr. Weiss? I read that saturated fats, eating like some saturated fats is good for you, or, you know, this is bad for you, or I heard this. And, you know, patients are very frustrated because there are a lot of talking heads and there's a lot of information in the world, and the internet and the availability of this information is, you know, acute. I mean, you can go anywhere. If you Google something or search for something on the internet, you'll be overwhelmed by all kinds of information. But how do you know what is real?
Yes.
How do you know what is not fake information? And it is very difficult for the average person to do this, because we have major, we'll even have major respected media outlets, such as Time Magazine, the New York Times, who publish pieces and articles recommending certain things from a health standpoint, and they are not evidence-based, and they fly in the face of what has actually been proven to be, in an evidence-based way, good for one's health. Unfortunately, even the New England Journal of Medicine, which is perhaps one of the premier medical journals in the world, publishes information and gives opinions that are not evidence-based. So that's a problem.
Absolutely.
So I encourage people to seek out the truth. You know, science is a truthful pursuit. Right?
Yeah, but everybody hides behind science. Discernment is key. We need to listen to our body as well, because if we're eating a certain way and our body is not responding in a way that it's favorable, then we need to keep moving, because not everybody is the same.
True, but ultimately it's, you know, medicine is it's science-based. And ultimately, from my perspective as a doctor, that's what I do every day. I recommend things because I know that there's scientific evidence to back it up and that they work. And secondarily, anecdotally, they are actually very effective. So what can a normal average human being, if you're not a doctor who has been trained and taken classes on how to analyze scientific data and papers, which is what I do. So I'll go into the New England Journal of Medicine, or I'll look at these papers that are offered by the New York Times, the sources, and I'll say, you know what, that was not good enough, what they're basing their opinion on. But what can your listener do?
Yes.
They have not taken a course in biostatistics or analysis of scientific literature. They don't know. So, well, the best thing I can recommend is that they listen to Dr. Michael Greger.
Michael Greger, yes.
Dr. Michael Greger, because Dr. Michael Greger, wonderful man that he is, it has spent his life analyzing, using his expert skills to analyze all of this stuff, all of this supposed fake stuff and the real stuff, and he gives it back to us in a format that the public can understand. In real evidence. So I would encourage all of you.
Nutritionfacts.org.
Go to nutritionfacts.org. And if you ever have a question about something like coconut oil, or is salt, what is the story with salt? There are a lot of people who say we need salt. If you have a question like that, or saturated fat, or for any nutritional question, you can look up the real evidence on nutrition.
That is a very good start, very good tip. And we still have 5 more tips from Dr. Ron Weiss, and those are going to be more action. This is the first part was more philosophy. Now it's going to be action. And for those of you, that want a $20 gift card from Native Sun or Sunseed Co-op, call 407-373-5959. Be the fifth caller or texter to get your card and start your life. We're going to be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. Oh my goodness, Dr. Weiss, that was great. Okay, so let's go to nutritionfacts.org because...
Have you ever interviewed Michael Greger?
Yeah, I actually had dinner with him.
Yeah.
He came to...
Amazing.
Yeah, he came to Cocoa and gave a talk in Cocoa, and we met. I had interviewed him the first time I interviewed Michael Greger. I kept hearing this flop, 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 and I'm like, yeah, I had read about it. So I said, is that your treadmill I hear in the background? This week I interviewed several people that I kept hearing meow, 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 and I kept hearing a cat in the background. But I had heard cats, I've heard dogs, I've heard never had heard someone do a whole show on a treadmill. So we did 2 shows on how not to die, and then we met for dinner right before a talk here in Florida that he gave. He was great. He was great. Yeah. Yes, nutrition facts. So, but here's the thing. That mentality that because we don't have a degree has been manipulated by the pharmaceutical industry.
It has. And the government.
And if we're going to take our health back, even though I love Michael Greger and I love your tip, we have to also keep an eye. I'm not just talking about Michael Greger. Any doctor that says, any person that says they have the answer, they still are within their philosophy too.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. I tell that to patients. When they come here, and actually that's why we collect evidence and we give it to our patients. A lot of the evidence does come from nutritionfacts.org and Michael Greger because he collects it.
Yeah.
It's not his.
He has a team. He has a team,
and it's evidence from all over the world, and he's just excellent at collecting it. But we do what we collect it from other sources too.
Yeah.
Why should patients listen to me? Maybe I have an axe to grind.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. So you just have to be careful, and that's where taking personal responsibility comes in. And it's a little bit of a difficult situation because in order to, listen to the evidence, you have to really know how to judge what the information is and what that evidence is a good quality evidence.
Now, do you believe...
And I think that Michael Greger does an excellent job.
Yes, I totally agree.
Of figuring out with his medical degree, what is good quality evidence.
I totally agree. So when it comes to taking our health back, because there's a lot of people that hide, like I said, they hide behind science. So how do we know what they are presenting is true? The CDC has come under fire, but nothing's happened to the CDC with Dr. Andrew Wakefield, who the CDC, William Thompson came out and said they falsified it. They falsified evidence that there's a link and that there's not a link. They falsified that evidence, but yet they have it on the phone, they have it a recording, and nothing has happened. And I hear that the show is starting, so I would love to get your thoughts on that.
Once again, here's Lillian.
And welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn from one another. I want to encourage you to start your journey and take your health back. And we can start together with First Coast, with Native Sun Jacksonville, $20 gift card. They're in Jacksonville and Jacksonville Beach, and also in the Space Coast, Sunseed Co-op in Cape Canaveral. They are making eating healthy, organic, non-GMO, affordable. So we're going to get you started. $20 gift card, fifth caller or texter, please leave a message, 407-373-5959. Today is a treat because we get to hear from Dr. Ron Weiss. I absolutely adore this man from the moment I saw him at Eating You Alive. You could also learn a little bit more about Dr. Weiss on My Ethos Health. We had a long conversation between the break about taking 100% responsibility. Yes, there are wonderful people in this world that have good intentions. Like you said, why would we want to listen to one person? Or there are how many books in the Bible? There are a lot of books that kind of like say the opposite but mean the same. So we have to discern. It's ultimately our responsibility, right?
Correct.
Yes, I see you nodding your head. So, okay, so now we're going to get to the do's. So the do's of your 10 / commandments, taking our health back. Okay. Number 6.
Well, 6 and 7 kind of go together.
Okay.
Because 6 and 7 have to do with the food we eat.
Okay.
So it concretely, so these next 5 are concrete actions that we are to commit ourselves to in order to get the best health that we can get. And the most, so these are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6 and 7 are one pillar, and 8, 9, and 10 are 3 other pillars. So I consider there to be 4 pillars.
Very good.
Of action. So let's talk about 6 and 7 together. Number 6 is, and 6 and 7 have to do with food and the diet we eat. 6 is the commandment, the directive to eat a diet that consists of whole, unrefined plant foods. Yes. And 7 is the directive to eat a diet that avoids foods that come from animal sources and processed sources. So if you take those 2 items together, I think they beautifully describe basically a whole food, plant-based diet in its entirety.
Very good. And we've discussed whole food plant-based diets in the past. For those of you who are interested in learning more, you can go to whenyounneedafriend.com. Check out Dr. Ron Weiss. You can check out Dr. Michael Greger, who's been on my show, Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Joel Furman, and the list is endless. So do your research as well. Okay, so let's talk about the second pillar.
Okay, the second pillar is exercise.
Commandment number 8. Okay, exercise. Let's talk about fitness. How much and how long?
Well, it depends on what point you're starting at. You don't want to hurt yourself most people, unfortunately, in America tend to be sedentary. We've gone from an agrarian society in the 19th century where 9 out of 10 people in America were on farms growing food for ourselves to just a couple of percent today, or less than that, are actually involved in farming. And actually, even when you look at farmers, most of the farmers in the United States tend to not be as active as we once were.
Too many machines, not enough mules.
In air-conditioned cabs and all sorts of that behind computers. Yeah. So our modern lifestyle has led to a sedentary way of living, which is not good for us. And we have found that having a desk job or the equivalent to that may double our risk of dying from a heart attack alone. That is, the number 1 cause of death in America, heart attacks.
Yeah.
So it's really important to get away from our desk, get out of the room, and exercise.
Okay.
People, if they have to start from scratch, just start walking, I say. Just go outside and start walking. And if you've not done that, I tell them to walk a mile or a mile to 2 miles. For the average person who's sedentary, who's not in good shape, it may take them between 15 and 20 minutes to walk a mile. So 2 miles would be maybe about 40 minutes.
And maybe they can just listen to some music and dance. They can while they're listening to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the theme song is about a minute. They can dance for that 1 minute and wiggle a little bit.
And I like to tell them a nice place to also start is they can utilize what's called the talk test. You can start talking to yourself in sentences. And if you can complete the sentence, like I am now, that means that your exertional level is not high enough to start getting into a plane of fitness. Okay. So you need to step it up and walk more briskly to the point where you would have to break your sentence is to take a breath in like this. And once you start doing that, that means that you are exercising at a high enough level to get some aerobic fit.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So now the third pillar, which is commandment number 9 or step number 9,
is sleeping.
Sleep.
Yes. So, we know, oddly enough, there's more we don't know about sleeping than we know about being awake. Sleeping is a very after all of our medical science, it's a fairly mysterious world to us. But we are beginning to appreciate how relevant it is to our health and how profound an impact disrupted sleep has.
Yes.
So the way I like to think about sleep, it is essential for people to get between 7 and 8 hours of uninterrupted deep sleep every night. And it is the opportunity for our bodies, and particularly our mind, our brain, our gray matter, to go down and repair itself. We send in the cleaning crews, the office cleaning, they go in there, empty out the waste baskets.
That's a great
clean up our desks. And literally, we know that this happens. I like to think of it like that. Waste products are taken out of our neurons and cleaned out, and it's important in order to regenerate our brains and our bodies during this period.
Very good, very good. We're going to have to do a little show on that one too, because we've done a lot of shows on sleep and the importance of sleep and cleaning out our body. Just like you're putting your farm to sleep, we also need to do that with our body as well. Okay, the last one, which I think is very, very important as a certified life coach and as a person who is an emotional being. I believe this one is not talked about enough. So let's talk about number 10.
Yes. So it is the emotional aspect of every human being. I cannot tell you how many people come to me with their primary complaint. In the medical game, we call it the chief complaint. Mm-hmm. It is that opening sentence that every patient comes into the medical office and they're asked, why are you coming? Why are you here? And it's a sentence fragment. Okay, knee pain. I'm overweight. I have prostate cancer. It's like a sentence. Mm-hmm. And that's really the main driver of why they're coming.
But the root
there
cause?
There are not many people who come that they do not have attached to that either anxiousness, anxiety, depression. Well, anxiety and depression are two main problems.
That span from not loving themselves enough. That's the root cause of that one.
So I think it is really hard if you look at our 10 commandments, it's hard if you're not coming from a good emotional standpoint. How can you dedicate yourself, right? It's hard to keep on that road if you're depressed or you're anxious. It's hard to connect, to see all the connections to everything around us, and to take personal responsibility, and to go out and start running because you don't feel like you can do it.
And Dr. Weiss, we got through the 10, but you need to come back. We can dive in deeper. Maybe after we finish the show, we're going to dive in a little deeper. To you, my listener, thank you, Dr. Weiss, for being on the show today.
It's been my pleasure.
As always, my pleasure too. And for those of you, my listening friend, start calling. Fifth caller, texter, 407-5959. 373-5959. I'm all discombobulated. And this is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. I love your ever. That's a great ever. Okay. So we're going to continue our conversation. We have about maybe 5 or 10 minutes before I need to do a recording, a testing with recording. But sleep is very important. I wanted to add that I had for exercise. I wanted to get everything out of the way with exercise. We did a show on cetosis. Have you heard of cetosis?
Cetosis?
No, cetosis. Cetosis.
Oh, cetosis. Okay. It's always something new I don't know about. Okay, I'm getting it.
Okay. So cetosis is for people that sit for more than 8 hours a day. It is the equivalent of having one pack of cigarettes a day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very devastating.
So we did a show on that. Okay. And then emotion. I know you have it as number 10, but isn't emotional the root cause of every illness? Because if you are happy and you want to love yourself, wouldn't you be eating the way you need to eat? There's something.
You could look at it like that. And that's why I saved the
best for last.
Right.
You do.
Important. Because if you don't have that, you can't address any of the others. Right. If you're depressed, you're not going to be motivated enough to do any of the previous 9. Right.
So I wonder if we were to do this show over, if we were to do a do-over, I know you say the best for last, but where would you put emotion at this point? Now that we've finished the show and we've been able to talk out loud and think about what we're doing here, where would you put number 10, emotion?
I guess 6.
Yeah.
Because it is a very focused. It's not a general overall concept of approach, but it is a focused area that should be attended to. But
I agree.
We could put it, it's interesting. Yeah, we could put it up front. The reason why I put the food up front is because of food is medicine.
That's right.
So, and I am a physician who has been trained in the Hippocratic way, and that's why that was my personal favorite. But I definitely understand what you're saying. We have many patients who come in who learn about foods and how powerful they are, but because they have emotional problems, at the end of the day, they can't access them.
I love that. I would love to do a show with you because, the people that you see heal completely, do they ever tell you, I'm still depressed?
No.
So let's do another show, this to be continued, Dr. Weiss, because I know you have a patient in like 3 minutes now. Let's do another show on the emotional component. And I'd love for you to, as we go forward, and with that becoming more in the front of your brain, I wonder how many of your patients would get better if they started with that, if they dealt with the loving themselves, where they're at, and the self-talk. I wonder how the outcome of your patients would, and I'm not saying to be a psychologist or anything to that effect.
Well, this is why in the beginning of when a patient comes in here, we emphasize how important it is to attend to areas of emotion. And everyone who comes in, we start them on paths of mindfulness and meditation, and to deal with these areas so that they can be successful. We lose some of them through dedication and other areas, but it's critical.
Very good. Very good. I love discovering this with you today. I love discovering it, and I'd love to do a follow-up. Would that be okay with you?
I would love it.
Okay. So our next show is going to be on the emotional part of healing. And I wonder what you will discover as you go forward with your patients and start digging deeper, or helping them dig deeper. I have, just so that you know, on my page, whenyounneedafriend.com, I have a responsibility page. And I think that we look at responsibility as fault, blame, shame, or duty. But the responsibility I talk about is ownership. Mm-hmm. So what am I willing to do now? Yes, I was molested, or yes, I was abused, or yes, I was neglected, or yes, my child died. It's horrible. It's hard. Now what? What am I going to do? How am I going to honor myself or honor that person for the rest of my life so that I can live the life that I want to live? So if you go to whenyounneedafriend.com and you go to the responsibility page, there are 4 questions. And I want to encourage you to ask your patients that question without shame, without fault, without blame. and 100% honors. I would love that. I love that. Okay, Dr. Weiss, thank you so much. And Jennifer, I know you're there. Poke your head in there. I want to see you.
Hi,
there she is.
thanks, Lillian.
Yeah, she makes things happen around there too.
She does.
She's keeping him honest at the time. Thank you, Dr. Weiss.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to spend time with you.
My pleasure.
Take care. Bye. Take care.